Okay, so let's begin the session now, and we are so excited to have this session for the launch of the book called Moments of Letting Go. This is a book written by Kavita Bhutani, also known as Kavita Kabira, and this is the second edition of the book. Earlier, the book was published with the title Few Moments of Letting Go, and now it has been republished as a second edition with the title Moments of Letting Go. So I'll still wait for some more people to join in before I can start introducing the book and the author, and then we'll have a session with the author herself and Jasveer Singh Dangi, our good friend and an author himself, who has actually written the foreword, one of the two forewords to the book, and he's a good friend of Kavita, and he will also tell us something about the book. And then we'll have a series of readings from the book. I personally will be reading two parts of it. One is the opening pages, and then the closing pages. So I will, in a way, bookend the readings. And there are four other people who will, four brilliant actors who will read out a few pages in the middle of the book, somewhere in the middle of the book, so that you get a taste of what the book is all about. And the book is the Amazon link for the book is already there on our 100 Monologues 100 Weeks page, so you can go ahead and buy the book if you find this session interesting and the book interesting. So I'll begin to tell a bit about the book now. So the story of the book is about Maya, who is a very attractive girl and has a very secure family, a secure job, and she has lots of love that she's received in her life. But something goes missing. Now, what is that? So she obviously goes through the routine phases of life, where she also meets some disappointments, and there are some tragedies in her life, and because of that, the vision of the future looks blurred, and if she's possibly trying to resolve her dilemma of accepting things which are both pleasurable and painful. So how does she do that is what we are going to sort of understand when we read the book. I mean, is she able to let go of certain things in her life so that she can move on with her life? So that's as the author says on a back cover, that it's an ode to life with Maya Diwan, the central character in the book. So I believe we can call the author straight away. I'll actually introduce her a bit as well. So Kavita Kabira, she specializes in the integration of Western psychology and Eastern philosophy, and she's a psychologist, spirit and wisdom guide, expert in dating dynamics, parenting games. She's written 5 books so far, 3 of which are anthologies, and they've been selling great. I would also like to quote our friend Jasveer, who is an author himself, who has written one of the 2 forewords to the book about her and how he describes her. So he says that she's a psychologist, she's the founder of Revolutionary Women and Wisdom Valley, she's a certified life coach, she's a tarot card reader, and she's a poet, and obviously she is an author. So she dons so many different hats that it's actually difficult to sort of understand how she maneuvers her way into managing all of it. She obviously raises her kids as well and the family, and what Jasveer's one of Jasveer's lines touched me was that this is how I knew Kavita before reading the book, but after reading her book, I know her simply as Maya, the central character in the book. So Maya is the central character, and Jasveer sees a lot of Kavita in Maya, or maybe the other way around, a lot of Maya in Kavita. So without further ado, I think I should call the author now for an interaction with us, and she will obviously let us know more about the book that she's written. So I'll invite her now. I'm going to invite her now. Kavita, if you're listening to us, yeah, hi, Jaspreet.
Hey, Mudit. Morning.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, sorry.
Morning.
Good evening, your time.
Yeah, but it must be morning out there in Canada. So yeah, it's good morning anyway. And it's good to say good morning.
Yeah, it's good to say good morning.
And meanwhile, since we are discussing about the book, why don't you tell us something about the book since you've read it?
Open mic back when I was still in India, and I think this was 2019 or maybe it was 2018, and she was late.
Okay.
So her act was the last act.
Okay.
Of the open mic because she had come late. And believe me, when she started reading her poems, I mean, everybody was quiet in the open mic. She was the last act, but I think if I have to rate all the acts that day, hers was the best. I mean, she read a few poems. There were a few dark poems, that's her theme. But then I would encourage everybody to read her poems, and I really love. I'm not a poem guy. मेरे को poem समझ नहीं आती है, but I can still remember her, and it's not that. And this was the first time I was meeting her. Before that I had spoken to her over the phone, and this was the first time I was meeting her. And she had given me a copy of A Few Moments of Letting Go. Then the first edition. I said we are going to work on it. We'll republish it. And there were some issues with the earlier version, and we got it out. I mean, society का एक cliched view है that if a guy does it, it's always right, and that's everywhere. Trust me, it's in Canada, it's in US, it's in Europe, it's in India. It's not something that we've fought in India only. But if a girl does the same thing, it's wrong. That's why I see a lot of my. Oh, she's here. Awesome.
Sorry, yeah. I have Kavita sending in a request, so I have invited her.
Amazing. Let her come on board and then I can talk about it.
Yeah. So yeah, continue speaking about it. Yeah, there she is.
Hello, Kavita.
Hi, Kavita. Hi, Kavita.
I'm fine. How are you?
We are good. Both of us are good, and we were talking about.
I'm technologically a little.
That's okay. That's perfectly fine. All of us are in some way or the other.
Generation gap.
Yeah. Yeah. So
don't say generation, otherwise Mudit मुझे बूढ़ा बोल देगा. Okay, so I was talking about that. We've got this cliched view that everything that a guy does is right and a girl does. If they try and do the same thing, it's wrong. I'll give you an example, a very simple example, late night outing, If a guy does, it's okay, but if a girl does, characters pe sawal uthte hain. And why I love Maya and why I love this story is that, she defies that. She is living the life the way she wants to, and I kind of like that. She's independent. She walks out of a marriage, abusive marriage, and डंके की चोट पे. In a sense, whatever she does, she's doing it up front. मतलब ऐसा कुछ नहीं है that she wants to hide. If she wants to date, she's gonna do that. But that's what I like about the story. She's doing the same things which a guy would do. हम question कर सकते हैं उस पे, but then that's why I love Maya. Her independence, her honesty, and the way she's making life choices. That's why I fell in love with the book, and इसको मैंने 2019 में बोला, let's rework on the book and let's produce it. It took us 2 years to do it because life happened for both of us, and in fact, this is the first time I'm seeing her in the last 1 year. I haven't even had a video call with her. Phone पे बात हुई है, we've had voice calls, but we just couldn't. I mean, like I said, life happened. I moved to Canada. I got busy. She got busy with her psychology work, and this is like after 1 year we are seeing each other.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I think it's an amazing story.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jasveer. And I gauge from this that you have a big contribution in the republishing of this book. More than just writing the foreword, I think there is a big contribution to the book.
I would have never done it.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, over to you, Kavita. We were actually inviting you first, but because of the tech glitch, I had to invite Jasveer first. So yeah.
Ah.
So tell us something about the book and your experience with writing it, and if there's anything that every reader should take away from it.
More than only defined rules, I would say that. So when I wrote this book, obviously it kind of every first book, I think every author has a little autobiographical element in it, because you
Sure.
obviously put everything that you experience. Every person has a unique story. So my story will only be unique when I'll put my learning to it. So obviously there could be times when people who know me can say that this part of it looks similar or sounds similar, but then it is an element into it. And because it's not my autobiography, yeah. So there is some part of me in Maya, but then it's a story of a girl who actually uh, is trying to find, I would say that the closest to my book, which I think I read is, I mean, uh, okay, I probably would mention that later. What I'm saying is, Maya is a girl who is in search of things, philosophical questions, or probably things like, what it takes to love someone, or what it takes to let go of things. And the message that I want to pass through the book is that often talk about letting go of things, but letting go is very difficult. I mean, for me, I think it's there are moments which you can let go, but everything that has affected your life, anything that has touched your life, is always there as a chapter. I mean, you can't tear. If you've read a book, you can't tear the pages. Na, ye chapter pasand nahi hai, to ye faad do kitab mein se. Doesn't work like that.
Okay.
The chapter always stays. The book always stays with you,
Mm-hmm.
and so there are I'll just quickly read. मैंने mark करके रखा था because I knew that I'm so it's for me, as much as I can write, it's very difficult to explain what I write to others somehow.
Sure. Sure.
So
Sure. Go ahead.
so when people say कि इसका क्या message है or how do you look at it, it gets very tough for me because when I'm writing it comes spontaneously. So
Sure.
so I've marked starting. I thought I'll read this to start the introduction. When so there's this chapter in my book wherein she says she meets another character called Vikram, and he
Mm-hmm.
says that I think I have discovered love, true love. So he answers that there is nothing like true love because there is nothing like false love either.
Okay.
You are in love and that's that. The biggest mistake people make is to find the so-called true love in someone else. Love is a light and light is within. It has shades maybe like Betelgeuse, the Death Star, and orange in color, Vega or Sirius, which is blue-white, though they all look the same to us from the naked eye. It is as much as our eyes are trained to see. There is a need to cross the dimension and open the inner eye to discover the colors of love. It only reflects what we already have within us. It is dependent on our inner self and not the outer stimulants. You know. So, what I'm trying to say is that he also goes on to say that newness generates excitement, and that's when people make a huge mistake. They start relating their bliss with the other person. The other person is just a catalyst. His magnetic field helps yours to generate the mental bliss that is addictive. So my book doesn't only talk about what she's looking at in terms of physical love. It could also be metaphysical. My book tries to say that everything that you want to find outside is within you. You have to be strong enough to understand that life is like a mirror. Whatever you will have, that will only reflect. Something that I don't have cannot reflect back to me at all.
Yeah.
So that's it. And to begin with, that's it.
Okay. Okay. That's great. Great to hear. So, I mean, it obviously sounds very philosophical when you say it like that. So yeah, and even I was reading a bit of the book. I mean, obviously the pages that I'm supposed to read, and I found the interactions quite interesting in the way that how Maya. I mean, how a lady interacts with her son, and her son counters her with questions uh, which are sort of unanswerable, and as to how
Yeah,
do
I
we
like
answer
that
that?
scene too myself.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like, I myself like it. Yeah, I think I know
yeah.
what you're
So
talking
that particular conversation is very interesting, and we'll
about.
we'll have a reading of that particular conversation too. That happens towards the end of the book, actually. So yeah, and Jasveer, anything else that you want to comment on in terms of what I mean? You still you already mentioned that there was enough work that was involved. So how do you think the book has sort of come about from what it was to what it is now?
I mean, everything. We've changed the outlook of the book. We've changed the
Mm.
description of the book to a great extent. I mean, the first
Mhm.
edition was good, but I thought we need to take it a notch higher.
Mhm.
Something,
Mhm.
a book of this caliber needs to be presented to the world in a totally different manner. If you look at the cover page,
Mhm.
that will intrigue a lot of people. I mean, that intrigued me. My guy did a very good job in redesigning the entire cover page. I sort of
Sure.
love that painting, and he picked up this painting specifically to do with theme. It's a bit dark. Uh, the lady over there is thinking in the thinking mode. There are so many shades over there,
Mm.
and something
Mm.
that she just said right now, that echoes with the cover page as well. And I wanted people to think about it and feel intrigued whenever they pick up the book. So the overall
Yeah.
outlook of the book has now changed, I think. And people are going to love this story. I'm sure people are going to love this story.
Oh, great,
I've added
great,
ears
great, great.
into it too.
Sorry?
I've added ears into it too, no? While we were
Yeah.
redoing it, we added some
Yeah.
more ears to it, some more experience, and some more content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm. Mm.
Mudit, that's what happens in self-publishing. Anybody who's joined us who's a self-published author, there is no harm in getting the next edition out. The first edition can be of that level, maybe it's not of that level. And if you feel that you need to come out with the second edition, go for it. I mean, there is no harm. It's
Yeah.
your book. It's self-published. You control everything, right? So you can do it.
Correct.
Rework on the
Mm.
book, get it re-edited, get the cover page redesigned and do it again. Maybe the outlook completely changes. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But
that's what
actually,
we
this
did
is
with this
this is
book.
quite rare for a fiction book to be republished and come out with a second edition like this, because I've seen this in other kind of textbooks,
Absolutely.
which are probably I mean, life skills book, or some kind of a guide, or some I mean, textbooks which are prescribed in some courses and stuff like that. They come out with a reprint and a re-edition, and every time there's something new in that. But I've seen this very rare in a fiction book or in a novel to be
In
republished
fact,
and re.
one of my friends just gifted me a book called The Book Thief, and I noticed that they'd come out with this anniversary edition with some new content in it. So it does happen in fiction, but we don't notice because we're I mean, if you haven't read my first book, you will never know that it's a
Yeah, yeah,
reprint format.
of
So
course.
it goes unnoticed.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
challenge
but
ये था कि
hmm,
इसको थोड़ा सा different भी करें, because if you
correct.
search for a moment of letting go, you'll still see the old edition, although you can't
Old
order
edition.
it. But that was our challenge. So थोड़ा सा नाम में tweak किया है. I won't tell you the name of the first edition, but there is a slight different,
Hmm.
just to make it look different. And we've also redesigned the complete cover page. So now it goes more to do with the theme. And I think cover
Hmm.
pages are very important. Cover pages and names of the book. If they don't, synchronize,
Definitely.
then the reader does not connect with the book. I think
Sure.
the way I work, it is, I give a lot of importance to the cover page, a lot of importance to the name of the book itself. It's
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
as if
Hmm.
हवा में से उठा लिया और नाम कर दिया. I tell all the authors. Now I'm working with a lot of authors under the group, which is HSD Ascent, which I've set up in Canada. It's a literary service company. I tell them, you tell us the theme and we'll exactly design the cover page as per the theme of the book. It's not going to be something jazzy. अगर simple है तो भी it has to go with the theme. That's what I keep telling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we worked for almost 6 months redesigning this cover page. That was the time. We did so many versions of it, and finally we felt, yes, moment of letting go is signified in that portrait. So I think it's
Amazing.
come
I
out
mean,
really nice. Yeah, it's come
amazing
out
how
really
I mean
nice.
how much effort that was put. I mean, 6 months of effort in designing a cover page to sort of make it alive as a cover page and as a book, as an attractive book. So that's a lot of effort actually. I mean, a lot of effort has already gone into writing the book and probably rewriting it as well. And then then parallelly probably the effort was spent in the cover design. Amazing effort.
Exactly.
I must say.
And I wanted to share something very interesting because without
Sure.
mentioning his name, I think this would not be complete.
Sure.
I had a company called the Cog Publication with my friend Chetan Singh. We were to republish Kavita's book under that banner, but unfortunately, Chetan died because of COVID on 1st of May 2021.
Oh, so sorry to hear
That
that.
was
Yeah.
this was his dream, you know. I wish he would be
Mm.
here for the launch. I would have loved for him to do the launch. He was on
Yeah.
television. He was a television personality. He was into a lot of debates, political debates and all.
Sure.
Uh, but unfortunately, he passed away. So I had to rebrand my own company. So with Kavita's book, I rebranded my own company as well. And I think this
Great.
everybody can do, and that's what the message Maya also sends. You can rebrand sort of your own life. You can do it. If you want, you can do it.
Yeah.
I think we've all done that. And
But
God
that's a
bless
great
his soul.
service.
I
I
hope
mean,
he's watching
yeah.
us.
I can completely understand your emotion at this point. I mean, I was amazed that you have actually formed a company that helps writers. I mean, the literary services with the literary services that you provide. I've not heard that kind of a thing. It's like writers helping out artists, helping out each other. I
Yeah,
mean, in a very rarely competitive space, how do you sort of help each other out? And I think that's a collective effort to sort of bring everyone above and move everyone forward in their literary endeavors and literary achievements. So that's
true.
a commendable kind of a job that you're doing. I mean,
Thank you.
and a great idea. I mean, a great business idea too, I guess.
I hope so.
I certainly
I
hope
hope
so.
so.
Yeah, because I think I mean, there are more writers who are writing. There are more writers who are publishing or self-publishing their books. Indian writers specifically writing in English and in other languages too. There has been so I mean, and I think that this is a real challenge. I mean, even not a simple thing, I will say, but yeah, I mean, even something which is not related to writing per se, but just the cover page, which is probably not the writer's domain, and someone who can help them actually design that. And being an author that way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Kavita's dog just spoke, I guess.
yeah, I guess yeah, the dog is excited about the book too.
Yeah,
I
Your dog is
didn't know how
excited
to
about the
use
book.
it. Yeah.
don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, I think that kind of conglomerate really works, wherein authors are getting together to help authors, to guide
Yeah,
authors. So we
yeah.
provide 360-degree services like editing. We also do coaching in case they are
Oh,
stuck
amazing.
at one place. So we've got pretty senior authors from Canada, US, and India, and UK as well, who are empaneled with us, and they coach authors into getting out of that something called writer's block, atak gaye hain kahin, and that happens. That
Mm.
happens a lot. I know people are sitting on 15,000 words, can't find the direction now. So
Yeah.
we sort of help them coach, get out of them that block, and help them complete their story.
Amazing. I would love to know more about this, though I'm not a book writer, though. But I'm just saying that, yeah, someone who I am a part of a cohort which is into long form writing, and some of them are actually looking to be or aiming to be authors themselves. So yeah, I will definitely be able to sort of recommend this kind of service to them. One of them is in Canada as
Awesome.
well, actually.
Oh, okay. Great.
Sure.
Nice to
So,
meet
okay,
another author.
should we proceed with the readings
Absolutely.
from the book? Okay, and Kavita, I'll request you to be the audience. Jasveer, you too, in case you can spare that much
Sure.
time. And so I will begin the readings myself. There are 4 other
Kavita,
readers.
you can just go out of Instagram and then come back again, and so that we can give space to the actors now.
No, I think there can be one more person who can join, so that's okay
Oh,
if you
okay.
stay
So
there.
Kavita, let Kavita. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
leave.
let her be. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Oh, she's
Kavita is
left.
Oh no.
चलो ठीक है, I'll tell Kavita to come back.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Yeah, I guess she'll need to be here. I'll invite her again. Yeah. Cool. So I'll begin the reading. The first 3 pages, as Jasveer also suggested. In fact, he's the one who suggested by reading the first that we should read the first 3 pages. Okay. So I'll begin the reading. These are the opening 3 pages of the book. At midnight, the telephone rang. Why would that goddamn thing ring at this hour? Maya picked up her phone. She could barely open her permanently tired eyes. It was Isha, her friend. Her name blinked on her phone after a long time. Why today? Why now? She answered the call with a whispering hello. There was a pause for a second. Maya answered another whisper. Were you sleeping? Her voice was stressed, deeply stressed. What happened? Maya felt her heart sinking with weird anticipation. Nemo's dead, Maya. He killed himself a couple of hours ago. Struggling to comprehend what she heard, Maya put the lights on and sat down on a chair. She was bewildered, not sure if she was awake or asleep. What the hell are you saying? He can never kill himself. It can't be true. Of all the people she knew in the world, he was the one she would never have expected to take his own life. He jumped into the sea from a bridge. I don't know what to say. Why? No one knows yet. I wondered if you would know about it, and I thought I must tell you. Yes, of course. Maya's voice failed her. Strangely but instinctively, she opened Facebook. Once in a while, she would check his page to read his work. Yes, there it was. Rest in peace, Nimesh Tanna. Someone had gone ahead and liked it. Oddly, there's nothing you could dislike on Facebook. How similar it is to an already destined life where we can't dislike what God gives. Whatever happens, we have to accept it wholeheartedly. Dead? He could not do so. Maya felt a sense of guilt. She remembered their last meeting a few months ago, the day before he left for Australia, how she had told him that she was too old for him, that there was someone else besides. She had hoped that he would soon get over it and realize it was no more than an infatuation. He hadn't. Maya Diwan, senior editor, Republic Publishing House, did not know what to think. The news hit her hard because Nimesh was synonymous with his cheerful smile. Her hazel brown eyes looked past the belt of universe at that moment. She was a lost cause trying to figure her life out. Why did this happen to her? What role did she play in Nimesh's death? Did she even have any? Dead? He can't be. For God's sake, he should not have killed himself. What could have gone wrong in his lively and lovely life? This jigsaw puzzle of life always confused Maya. She had no idea of what to expect from it. Too many things go unexplained anyway. And now this. Unless Nimesh comes alive again, the reason for his death will be a mystery. She still remembered the misty evening she spent with him. Though she wasn't in love with Nemo, she sure loved the moments together. Besides, then she didn't believe in love. Not anymore. She did believe in those moments as they distracted her from the turmoil that swirled inside her. Nemo's face was sketching up on the wall. It changed color every second. She wanted to cry, but she couldn't. Maybe the flood marks of her soul had reached a different high level. Flood marks. Life has a unique method of passing lessons to generations. She learned that the most painful stab that cuts deep inside makes us more human. Pain is universal. It distinguishes no one. A broken heart is always a kinder heart. She recalled how close friends turned bitter in a second. More than once, she'd been hurt and judged by the people she met in her journey of life. She was bewildered by the kind of lives they were going through. Not that her own life was an example. Wasn't life a series of mistakes, she thought? So was hers. She was loved and abandoned. She had been honest, but she had lied too. She had always been fearless, but at the same time, she knew fear too. She loved passionately to the extent of being desperate. She believed in herself so much that she felt the master of her own life. Yet, she was insecure and weak. She wanted to be held while she dealt with her complexes and flaws. She was everything black and white. Not even for a moment she was a fake or a coward. Never. She was genuine, always. She had her own set of pale, honey-drenched episodes that seemed like some misplaced dreams. So those were the opening 3 pages, and I hope I did justice to the writing. By now, I'll invite the next reader. The next reader is Rahul Ragane, and I will invite him to read 2 or 3 more pages from the book. Yeah, let's wait for Rahul to join us. So he will read pages. He'll read pages 56 to 61 of the book. Oh no! Sorry, I needed to invite Preeti. Actually, let me invite Preeti first. Sorry, I made a mistake in the order in which we had to do this. Yeah, hi Preeti, hi.
Hi, Mudit.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I did
Rahul,
get one.
we'll wait for Preeti to sort of read, and then you can read. You can stay here, but just wait for Preeti to finish her reading.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a pleasure and a bit of nervousness for reading in front of the author, but
Sorry, Preeti, you were asking. I think there was a clarification that you sought.
Yeah.
I think you can read from the section that is highlighted. Just, you can read
Yeah.
from Maya would never forget her 9th birthday. I think that's the sentence you needed.
Yeah.
Need to read
Okay,
from.
got it.
Yeah.
I figured that would be it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm reading from page
9.
29. Yes, page 29.
Mudit sir,
Maya
it will be
never
better if I. I'm sorry, just Preeti, just a second. I'll just go back and you can just invite me again. Fine
Yeah.
with that?
Okay. Yeah. We'll do that.
Okay, I'll start now. Maya would never forget her 9th birthday, the last one she celebrated with her mother. She had painted a beautiful sunrise for her that surprised everyone as they thought she had given a painting. Most people hoped she was recovering. It was not to be. It was to be her last painting, Maya's last birthday with her mother. Her mother's last painting. Too many things ended that day, Maya thought pensively. When she returned from school the next day, she could not find her. Instead, she saw her aunt waiting for her. She was told that her mother was in the hospital unconscious. In the evening, Maya's father took her to see her mother. As Maya would not stop crying, she went in and saw her mother, with various tubes going in and out of her. Maya went and held her hand. It didn't seem to be her mother's hand anymore, though it was still warm. Her mother opened her lifeless eyes, gave her one last look, and closed them. The doctor came in and asked her father to leave Maya outside and come in. Maya sat on the bench for a while till her father returned. He didn't look too good. It was the look of the man who had been tired and drained from day-to-day stress. Strangely, our everyday struggles wears us down much more than any one-time crisis. He walked slowly towards Maya and kissed her on her forehead. Maya looked at his watery eyes and wished she could make him smile. Late in the night, her mother died. She didn't recover from her bid at killing herself. She had slit her wrist, unable to bear the agony anymore. The child that she was, she kept looking at the sky, searching for the star her mother had said she would turn into once she was no more. Maya slowly got up from her bed and went to her cupboard. She retrieved the letter her mother had left her before she attempted to take her own life. Maya must have read it 1,000 times in those last few years. My dear baby, this is to tell you that I love you. There may be times when I may not recognize you, but don't worry. Some stupid nerve disorder prevents me from being normal. When you grow up, you will understand what was it that was not letting me be normal. Please forgive me for the days I was not normal. I was out of my control. Remember that you were all I wanted to live for. You were all I ever painted, and you always will be my little darling. Never let anything worry you. Remember that the sun will always shine again. Like my paintings, some shades would be grey, but without them, the picture would be complete. Be brave. Don't give up fighting for what you want. I pray to God to look over you. I wish I could tell you how much I love you. Remember, love simply is love. Nothing can make or break or even create it. Similarly, life simply is life. Nothing can create or end it. I will stay forever with you, and you will be in my thoughts forever, with immeasurable love for my little angel. Maya whimpered like a baby. She held the letter to her heart and let the tears flow. She often wondered how could someone like her mother, who had so much passion and zest for life, could be mad enough to end it all. Possibly too much passion is also dangerous. 2 years after her mother's death, her father married a cousin of Maya's mother, thinking it would be good for both of them. Neetu, her stepmother, couldn't easily trust anyone anymore. She herself had been through difficult times. Her husband had eloped with another woman within 6 months of their marriage. She became a strict disciplinarian, and Maya, who had never been beaten by her mother or her father, now received an occasional thrashing from her stepmother, and sometimes a tongue lashing as well. There were times when her father had bitter fights with her stepmother. She was a pretty woman, and like many a pretty woman, she too craved attention. On the contrary, her father was a very humble man with few needs. Once after her stepmother yelled at her, Maya went into the bedroom and tore a new dress into pieces to vent her anger. The ones had been summoned by Maya's class teacher, who complained that her daughter was restless and hyperactive. She told them that Maya had been categorized as an indigo child in one of the routine counseling sessions. When they returned home, Mrs. Devan, who too had no clue of what an indigo child was, drained out her anger on Maya. She reasoned that Maya was making up things. What is this pseudo thing? Indigo child being sensitive and all that crap? It's all nonsense. Your father and mother have completely spoiled you. Her stepmother told Maya and her father accusingly. She knew Maya was intelligent, but for some reason wouldn't listen to her. She refused to acknowledge that Maya was an indigo child and that some such children are to be spoken to in a language they understand. All children need love, but indigo children need a lot more of it. I wish you could understand me, her stepmother once told her. I wish the same too, Maya said. It was different with her father. There were times when children become pseudo-companions in parents' lives. They take the place of the imaginary lover that is hidden somewhere behind the realms of consciousness. Ironically, they bond in such a way that it connects deeply and absorbs the intensity of the relationship that should have been with someone else. Maya and her father understood each other's fears and shared the same sorrows. Maya was his pseudo partner in life. There was one thing that Maya did like about her stepmother. Though she took good care of her father, she was more than a good caretaker, she thought. She tried to have a child with Mr. Devan, but somehow it didn't work out. She gave up the idea and adopted Maya completely as a daughter. However, Neetu Devan was largely gripped by one consideration, that Maya should be married off as soon as possible. Like many mothers, she also thought that marriage was the only goal to be achieved this life. By the time Maya finished college, Neetu had spread the word around in the neighborhood that she was looking for a suitable boy for her Maya. "Hut vaddi ho gayi hai apni choti," she said to one of her friends at a wedding. "My name is Maya," she immediately corrected her. "Haan, wahi." She laughed at Maya's reply. "Do tell us if you find a good boy for her." "Mom," she used to plead with her to drop the topic. On one such occasion, Maya took umbrage at her stepmother's request to the nearest stranger to find a match for her. "I'm not going with you anywhere anymore," she told her stepmother angrily when they reached home. "Why would you? You look like fools to you, huh?" her stepmother asked. "Mom, you have nothing else to do other than think about my marriage. You should get married now." "I don't want to marry," she replied. "How many times do you want me to repeat the same thing?" "You just want to go out with boyfriends," her stepmother said accusingly. "I'll do what I want," Maya said, anger turning into rage. "Bring disgrace to this family," Neetu roared. "I will do much more. I will rot." Tears rolled down Maya's cheeks in anger. "Such a nasty girl you are. Sometimes I wish you were never born." "No wonder why you were childless." Maya did cross her limits. She knew this would hit her and hurt the most, but she couldn't hold herself back. Neetu turned around and slapped her hard. Maya missed her mother. Her own mother would never have had thoughts of this kind, let alone say it. Overhearing the argument, Maya's father came in from the living room. "Neetu, please stop. You're always behaving like a child. Maya isn't a baby anymore," he told his wife. "She's grown up. Why doesn't she learn to behave then? Didn't you hear how she spoke? Is this how children talk to their parents?" she asked her husband. "You know you aren't my mother, don't you?" Maya let her stepmother have it. "Yes, I know that. I'm not mad either like your mother was," Neetu said, her spite spilling over. "My mother was not mad. She was ill." Maya screamed with hot tears rolling down her cheeks and left the room. "And you were equally ill," Neetu's voice followed her. Her father looked at his wife with contempt and went over to Maya. He took his daughter's hands into his and hugged her. "I understand, Maya. I know it hurts. Your mother was not mad," he said. "Why is she always so fucking rude?" Maya was gasping. "Mind your language, honey," her father reacted. He hugged her and slowly the crying ceased. "I don't want to get married, Daddy." "You'll have to one day, my little girl. You'll have to leave us and go." "Don't send me away, Daddy. Whom will you talk to?" "Neetu is not a bad person, Maya. She is good at heart," her father said, attempting to be a broker of peace between his daughter and his wife. "I know, Dad, but sometimes she doesn't know when to stop." He himself felt helpless with Neetu. She was always complaining about something or someone. She was accustomed not to look at the brighter side of things. Okay.
Thank you so much, Preeti. That was very delightful reading. And just to let you know, Kavita, Preeti is joining us. Preeti, it's also morning time for Preeti because she's joining all the way from the US.
Yes.
And
Thank you so much.
yeah, she's actually a better host than me. I don't know why I was told to host today's book launch. She's a much better host than I am. So
No,
yeah,
I was
but that
hoping
was
to
a
get the chance to read Mudit, and this was a
yeah. No, so you would have, because I am also reading some of the pages. So yeah, so that's okay. So anyway, that was a good reading. Any comments, Kavita?
No, perfect.
Okay, cool. So I'll invite the next reader now, Rahul. Thank you, Preeti, and I mean, as usual, you were delightful and great
Thank
to
you.
have you
Thank you
here.
for allowing me to read. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now I'll invite Rahul. So Rahul will take us through pages 56 to 61. Yeah. He's supposed to join any moment now. Yeah. There's his. Hi Rahul.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening. Yeah. So pages number 56 to 61. Over to you, Rahul.
Okay. Karthik, do you think we can get married? The question popped out of Maya's mouth unexpectedly. This girl has lost it, he thought. Marriage was the last thing that was on his mind. Will you marry me, Karthik? She repeated. Maya, are you out of your mind? I have not even thought of marriage. Don't you love me? Maya challenged him. What's love got to do with it? Listen, Maya, I like you, but then I don't think I can marry anyone right now. Maybe after a few years. Maya was unable to understand why Karthik was making such a big deal out of it. She thought he had liked her. Maya, it's not so simple after all. It means a lot of compromises and adjustments. I'm ready for them. What's the big deal? I'll do anything for you, baby. I love you so much. Her eyes turned into two big lamps. Maya was unsure about this line the moment she spoke it. Was this love? She was sure he didn't love her. He did not want to marry her, that was clear. Yet something inside her was not letting her stop. She was posed by the other Maya. Perhaps who would go to any extent to experiment and find out the unknown she was in search of. She wanted to see how far she could push him. She was not sure she was in love either. Who knows what is love? Maya didn't realize that she was already a loser in the bargain. She thought of marriage as an escape route. She lost her focus on the career that she could have started upon. She could not picture the life she truly wanted. She fell into the trap laid for women since the beginning. The trap which forces women to concentrate on marriage as the biggest goal in life, the next one being having children. No, Maya, whatever it is, she could not picture the life she truly wanted. I can't marry you, at least not now. But why? Can you explain? Do you think I won't be able to make a good wife? Maya asked. I do. But you need to understand we are too young. I have not finalized my future. His tone was one of irritation. Oh, come on. By next week you would have a fat job and the future is all settled. We would love each other and always be happy. She was in her own wonderland. Do you want me to leave? He was furious now. Maya was almost teary-eyed with a sense of rejection. She was confused and silent. She looked down and did not know what to do next. It was like her ego was hurt. The alter ego. The fake pride that can't stand rejection. The rejection is not only the parameter of our being happy and enough. Yet the other Maya, the arrogant, shallow, full of herself Maya, was not ready to accept defeat. By the way, how is your painter? He asked, trying to change the topic. You mean Vikram Oberoi? He's great. Her dim eyes lit up a little. Is working with him adding value? He asked. Yeah, sure, it does. but I am no more working with him. By the way, he's not just a painter and magician. He's seriously rich and he has some high profile clientele. That's nice. You really like him, don't you? A pang of jealousy seized Karthik. She looked at him and smiled. Do you love me, Karthik? She held his hand. Maya, I need to go. Please stay for some more time, she pleaded. Maya, let's go for God's sake. He picked up the keys of his bike and paid the bill. With no choice, Maya also stood up. She thought Karthik loved her, but she could not make out why. He would not want to marry her. He used to drive her to various places, date her, take her to lovely lunches, but when it came to discussing the future, he would just avoid the topic. Maybe he isn't ready. Maya wanted to believe that love would come to them naturally. What she failed to realize, unfortunately, was the difference between forcing love to happen and letting happen on its own. Most of the time, people end up trying too hard. She was doing the same, harassing him. Love happens slowly. Make haste, and it flies off. I think I have discovered love. True love, she told him. His heart twitched. It was difficult. There is nothing like true love because there is nothing like false love either. You are in love and that's it. The biggest mistake people make is to find the so-called true love in someone else. Love is a light and light is within. His heart twitched. It has shades maybe like Betelgeuse, the red star, and orange in color. Vega or Sirius, which is blue-white. Though they all look the same to us, it is as much as our eyes are trained to see. There is a need to cross the dimension and open the inner eye to discover the colors of love. It only reflects what we already have within us. It is dependent on our inner self and not the other stimulants. What is true love, Maya? His eyes danced sarcastically. Well, the one that happens once in a lifetime. When you find someone special, her eyes blinked. Maya, love is a state of bliss. It comes from within. When two people come closer, there are electromagnetic fields that get connected. There are reactions in the heart that also has its own hormone and sensors which are even more active than the brain. The newness generates excitement, and that's when people make a huge mistake. They start relating that bliss with the other person. The other person is just a catalyst. His magnetic field helps you to generate the mental bliss that is addictive. It's like being high on cocaine. It takes you to some other world, some higher realms, and then you don't want to come back. Two hearts connect, and together it becomes easier for them to decode the universal language of bliss. Wow. Isn't that nice? She smiled with a confused look. It sure is, till the time the catalyst effects start to weaken like any other narcotic. Everything in this world is temporary. Even when you are high on drugs, there will come a time when thresholds rise higher. The brain would refuse to accept that the fact that it is dependent on an external stimulus and would ask for more. That's when people cling on to love and start controlling the other person. This ruins it. Love cannot be controlled. It's a flowing river. You cannot change the course. You can just swim along. You mean in a relationship there is no importance of the other person? She frowned. Of course there is. He smiled. Without the catalyst, the chemical reaction would not take place. The idea is, however, to concentrate on the chemical reaction itself. How do you think a musician manages to keep his interest alive in music? In his case, music is his catalyst to achieve the state of bliss, and there is always newness in it. Painting is the catalyst for someone who can paint. All these movies. People around you make you think differently about love. He winked at her. What is love then? After all, according to you, Maya was getting a little impatient now. Love is within. You need to reinvent it within yourself every time. It's like meditation. Love simply is. There is nothing true or false about it. It can happen and rehappen, for nothing can stop a life force from flowing. The catalyst can change, but the freshness and simplicity of your being should not. How can a person who himself is in search for love bring it to another? That too forever. Love is not to be given to each other. It is to be discovered together and for individual self at the same time.
Thanks, Rahul,
Thank
for that
you.
reading. For those who don't know, Rahul is an aspiring actor and he also works as a practicing CA, I believe.
Absolutely. And I also did a digital ad, which I would put up sometime for Roziva, which is on YouTube as well. Yeah.
Great to hear from you and great to have that reading from you. Now I'll move on to the next.
I hope we can discuss about the book after the readings.
Yes, of course. Let the readings finish because there are, I think, three more readings to be done. So we'll not waste any more time and go to the next reader then.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you so much, Rahul. Yeah. Bye. So now I'm going to invite Neha Chawla to take us through pages number 162 to 164, and then there's another set of pages that she needs to go through. Yeah. Hi, Neha.
Hello. Hi. Good evening.
Hi. Yeah. Good. So you, I guess, have to read two sections out of the book.
Yes.
Pages 162 to 164, and then I think from 237 to 239. So over to you, Neha.
I have 146 page number, scene 33. 162.
Just a moment.
And 162.
Yeah, it is 162. I mean the printed page number, that is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So over to you. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. The next morning, she was cleaning the house when the phone rang. It was Karthik. Yes, she said disinterestedly. Where are you, Maya? I'm worried. You are? Is that why you are calling now, after so many days? I thought you would call me back. Besides, I tried to reach you, but your phone was switched off. That's possible, for she used to switch off her phone. 1 second. When Raghu was around, he did not like her friends calling her. Are you listening to me? She said, Karthik saying, Yes, Maya, we need to talk. What is there to talk about? You don't have to be so rude, as if you have always been polite to me. What is the problem with you? What is it you want? He continued. What do you want? She countered. Why do you answer by questioning my questions? Can't you answer a simple question? Well, this isn't a simple question. It was $1 million one, she thought. As for answering your questions, there's nothing I want. There's certainly nothing I want from you, she said. Karthik sighed. Why don't we get the divorce papers ready? Maya didn't know what to say. Who's preventing you? She retaliated. Come on, Maya. We need to discuss and sort things out. Sort things out? What's that supposed to mean? You didn't care for me when I was with you. So what the hell there to sort out now? As if you cared for me, he said. The conversation was going nowhere. You will never be out of complaints, Maya, he said irritatingly. You will never understand, Karthik. I have dreams, needs. I need to be loved. I need to discover myself. It's all about you and no one else. Anyways, she heard Karthik saying, There is no use fighting. Tell me what you want. I want nothing. Where are you? In Mumbai. She heard him sigh over the phone. 1 second. You did not even bother to let me know, as if it matters. Where in Mumbai? With a friend. You have no friend that I know of in Mumbai. You didn't know all my friends, right? I know you're lying to me, as usual. I am not. She couldn't tell him that she was living in Aditya's flat. She knew he hated Aditya. Maya, all I can say is that you have to decide and let me know. It's all right if you don't want to stay with me, but I need to know. I know that, Karthik. I know that it does not matter to you. You don't care anyway. I'll let you know once I decide. She disconnected the phone. What's the point of such conversation? She wondered. She would have run back to him if he had asked, but he wouldn't ask. His ego would not let him. And she could not go without being called. Not that this thing with Raghu was working out well either. She glanced outside the kitchen window at the cemetery. Further on that had scarred her a bit when she first moved into the apartment. Now it did not even seem to matter. Could the dead feel? She wondered uselessly. She picked her phone and dialed Vikram. It had been some time since they talked. She seemed to need his calming influence again. Where have you been? Vikram sounded a little worried. Mumbai. I know that. But you didn't call me. I was thinking of you. Were you? She didn't expect him to admit that. Shouldn't I? She smiled to herself. She always felt natural with him. Anyway, how have you been? How's Raghu? He continued. He's good, she lied, but without wanting to. Why did you call me? Can't I call you without a reason? Sure you can, he said. A little taken aback by her reasoning. I'm feeling very low. What happened? Nothing, but I feel empty. It was the Wiccan institution, he knew. He knew that they both belonged to the mystique tradition and someday they were meant to be together. Yet they had to be part of this worldly ritual. She was supposed to go through the entire cycle so that she can be mature enough to change dimensions. Besides, restlessness is often felt at some point by all mystiques. The desire to know more, the desire to go beyond known things. Dissatisfaction with the present and empathy with the world. Suicidal feelings sometimes. The whole game of restlessness. Now I'm gonna read the other piece, the other page numbers. 1 second. Starting from page number 222. Maya had come back from office a little more drained than every day. It was a busy day, with no room left for anything else. As she heaped towards her bed, she saw Asha, glued again to her laptop. It doesn't tire you, this machine? She asked Asha. Well, that's my distraction. It keeps me busy, she replied. Maya sighed. You had your dinner? She asked Asha as she cuddled to find comfort. I wasn't very hungry. Had a bite before I left office. Her eyes glued to her screen. What took you so long today? Loads of work. Every part of my body aches. Maya sighed again. What are you doing? She was curious. FP and some chatting. Asha smiled. What's your Facebook account? I'll add you. Well, I don't have an account. Maya smiled. Whoa! You aren't active on Facebook? Asha asked. For her, the first thing to do on the internet was to log on to Facebook. Well, not much. That means you are a cave dweller, she said, laughing. By now, they both knew quite a bit of detail about each other. Asha had given positive signals about Maya chemistry with Vikram. She was unable to figure out why Maya was not taking it to the next level. Let me create your Facebook account tomorrow, she smiled. You know what? I wish we were as rich as to we wouldn't need to work. Someone should just give us money for sleeping. Maya said, peeping into the laptop. Yeah, after all, it helps the world to be at peace. Asha chuckled. As they chatted lazily, they heard a knock on the door and Asha went to open it. There was a very handsome man at the door. Is Maya in? He demanded rudely. His manners were in contrast to his looks, she noticed. Yes. Who are you? She demanded. He barged in, pushing Asha aside. It was then that Maya saw him, and she was instantly afraid. Why aren't you taking my calls? Raghu demanded. One second. What are you doing on the computer? Show me. He snatched the laptop from the table. Raghu, that's not my laptop, she said. Disgusted by his behavior, he threw the laptop on the floor. Hello? What do you think you are doing? Asha exclaimed and stared at him. She bent to pick up the laptop from the floor. Stay out of this if you want to stay alive, Raghu threatened Asha. Asha was flabbergasted. That's not my laptop, she said. Disgusted by his behavior, he threw the laptop on the floor. Hello? What do you think you are doing? Asha exclaimed. I can hear myself back. She went to Maya, but Raghu was closer. He grabbed Maya by the wrist. Excuse me. What's wrong with you? Asha asked. Shut up and stay where you are, or I'll throw you down from the balcony, Raghu said, though he didn't know Asha. Don't get into it, Maya pleaded. This is between me and her. Leave us alone and get out, he told Asha. Asha didn't know what to say. Though it was wiser to step out and close the door behind her, she was embarrassed at what was obviously a private matter. She got scared. All your friends leave you with me, allowing you to die. He laughs, as if it were a joke. What do you want? Maya snapped at him, her dislike palpable. Didn't you know? No, I don't. I love you. I have already told you that I'm not the one for you, Raghu. You can barge in and abuse me whenever you feel like, she said angrily. He glared at her. He'll use his hands on me next. Maya thought, scared. You bitch. You can't be a good lover. You couldn't be a good wife. You couldn't be a good daughter either. That's why your mother must have killed herself, he shouted, wishing to wound her. Raghu, Maya screamed. You are the biggest whore I've ever met. Why are you here then? You think you'll escape from me so easily, you cunning bitch? His eyes were red with anger. He shouted abuse like there was no tomorrow. Maya did not bother to listen or protect. Yeah. Should I go on?
Thanks, Neha. Thanks for that reading.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'll invite the next reader now. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Neha. Yeah.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye. So I'll now invite Akash to read a few more pages from the book. Yeah, invited. So these pages that Akash is going to read are some of my favorite moments from the book, actually. So yeah. So over to Akash now.
Thank you, sir. What's this? It was a photograph of her that he had converted into a poster. She looked stunning. But when he took a photograph, she asked. I took it the other day with my camera. He smirked. This is beautiful, she said, not without vanity. You are too, he said simply. Maya, I'm falling in love with you. Don't do anything that would mislead him. She heard Isha's voice. Nimesh, we are only friends. Please get that straight into your head. I like you around me and that's about it. I have someone else in my life. She spoke it in one breath. He just smiled back in answer. No problem. What's the harm in trying my luck? He chuckled. They laughed and joked in for a few minutes before he left. He parked his bike and started walking towards his apartment. The sun was setting and a faint red color was covering the sky. He thought about the loneliness he felt at times. He threw himself on his couch and lied there for some time before he drifted into sleep. How long are you going to sleep today? He felt his mother moving her fingers through his hair. I've slept for long, is it not? Are you okay, dear? Is there anything bothering you? She asked him. Nay, nothing. He felt a little awkward. I'm your mother. Want to tell me? He leaned forward to rest his hand in her lap. She moved her fingers through his hair. Why don't life happen as you plan it, Mom? She kept moving her fingers. It wouldn't be so exciting then, he smiled. Why does it hurt? It hurt because the reality often does not match up to our expectations. Hence, we start blaming ourselves and everything around and get gripped by a feeling a loss. Pause for a second and then continue. You know what else? She further continued. The problem is we take life too seriously. We forget that we are just here for some time. I used to fight with a father over petty things. Only when it was too late, I realized that all hurt and pain are associated with situations that involve other people or experiences. All these situations are only there till they are alive. When anyone dies, no matter how harsh we might feel towards them, it all ends. When someone is dead, we feel no anger towards them. All hurt that comes through them is gone. Our ego is burst, and we have no one to vent out our frustration. It is the experience we are angry about, not the people. What if someone is not dead? What if I love someone alive who does not love me at all? There was a pause again. My dear, love cannot depend on any particular person. Like I said, it is about the experience and not the human being itself. If one person is unable to reciprocate, it should not matter so much. How many times the sun tells the earth that she owes him? If you love someone and she does not love you back, it's okay. I know it is easily said than done. I know it will break your heart. I know it will pain. But I also know through my experiences of life, it will be okay. Believe me, nothing in this universe is permanent. No pain, no joy. Nothing is everlasting enough to cause you to feel the same always. Flow with the wind. Follow your heart. Say where life takes you. What all it shows you. Pain is just a part of it. Remember, there can be no day without time. There can be no learning without moving on. There can be no pleasure without pain. Don't worry, it will be okay. Why does it cause frustration, Mom? Ego. It is our ego, baby. It forces us to feel extremely important. It does not let us lose or let it go easily. We need to work on our alter ego. I learned this the hard way. Believe me, we need to learn to let go. He got up and settled on his computer table. What if I tell you I'm in love with a woman your age? Nemo knew he was exaggerating, but he wasn't. But he wanted to test her mother's patience. Knowingly or unknowingly, children make worship idol out of their parents. Parents become people who can never commit mistakes. Then as we grow, this image becomes more of a human to us. Hence, begins the phase where both parent and the child start challenging each other. I would not appreciate it. She answered in a little concerned tone. Why? He asked. There are certain norms which need to be followed. At every age, there is a given understanding. You are young right now. A woman of my age can easily exploit or manipulate you. She was protective of me. Do you manipulate me? I am your mother, Nemo. You are a woman too. He said he still did not meet his gaze. What do you mean by that? He snapped. Nothing. You said it was easy for a woman your age to exploit me, didn't you? He knew he was being slightly unreasonable. I can, but I don't. I am your mother. I love you. Is it only because you love me that you don't exploit me? He asked her. She did not know what to say. She could not gather where the discussion was moving towards. Of course, I love you, she said. Then why anyone else who loves me would exploit you? He started scribbling on his notepad, waiting for an answer. How could you know that she loves you? She was getting irritated by the pointless discussions and the fact that she seemed to be losing ground to herself. How would you know if anyone loves you? His scribbling was getting symmetric in some fashion. She was quiet. She didn't know how to answer that question. Love never seemed to touch her. She had been in a troubled marriage, then in a troubled relationship, till they all seemed to be one-minded. Of late, the only thing that was there in her life was lots of money and herself. Her husband had left her money she could roll day in and day out. She had spent some of it on her boyfriends when young. She didn't know how to figure out what love is. She was not even sure whether there was anything called love. Tell me, he repeated. You can sense it. She gave the most obvious answer. There is no thumb rule then. He smiled. They were quiet. All I know is that you have to be practical, Nemo. There are women who would like you for your money. You are too naive. I have touched love, he interrupted her before she could speak further. Love is loneliness. Love is a mystery we all are trying to run after. The fact is that it is not possible to solve love. No one can love us more than ourselves. We have to drench in the wonders of loneliness to find out love. To become lonely is the only way to find ourselves, since it makes us feel sad and suffer, and that is when love touches us and takes us into a deep seas of pleasures. Love, then becomes pleasure in love. Love is fast. It engulfs, then everything ceases. All pain ends, all pleasure vanishes. It's just the bliss. Mother was dumbstruck. She did not know what he was talking. She was worried of his son. She wondered who he was meeting and what he was. It's all one big illusion, Nemo. And that's too momentary, he said very soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Akash. Thanks, Akash, for that reading. Now I'll move on to the last 3 pages, which are the closing pages of the book. I'll quickly read through them and then we can discuss the book for a bit. She checked her personal email account. She hadn't been checking it since long now. There was an email from Nimesh as expected. Maya, I read your magazine. Good job. Looks like you were very busy. I really wish we could see each other. Those stars and the beach where we walked together haunt me almost every day. I wish you had more time for me. I wish I could convince you enough. Yet I'm happy. I've chosen to be happy. It's when we don't share our emotions we feel suffocated. It is so normal for a child to cry when he needs our attention or when he needs food or anything. As an adult, it's not classy to cry when you need love and attention. It's considered a sign of weakness. I have figured out that crying is okay. Crying it out and getting over with it helps. I miss you, but I'm doing just fine. When we don't express our emotions, we encourage open-ended situations. Loose ends are like pricking pins from inside. It's far better to give closure and try it out. I'm doing fine academically. I've made good friends here. I've also applied for a scholarship in photography, which I think should go through. Do write back. Don't make me wait too long. Don't allow your loose ends to prick you. Close all of them and smile. Live the way you do. Don't just exist. Nemo. Suddenly, everything was so clear to her. Nimesh had come to deliver a message in her life. Tears rolled down, and she wanted to hug him. I want to live, not just exist. Suddenly, all her doubts vanished. In moments, her mind was made up. She had never been so sure of anything in her life earlier. Closure was what she needed to give to all her loose ends that burdened her. She needs to let go in the real sense. The key to happiness is to forgive. Forgive everyone, not for others, but for yourself. It made her want to start living now. Now, this was it. Everything was in the moment. She suddenly knew what she wanted in life. Life was too short to end it in confusion. She felt an overwhelming love for Vikram, a love that filled her vacuum and seeped into her empty spaces. She called Vikram and shared her restlessness. She had found her key to unlock and let go. Vikram was waiting for her. Having returned from a meeting as she came down her apartment building the next day, she was again struggling to put aside the thought that Nimesh was no more. Maya, celebrate death. I don't mean create a song and dance about it, but celebrate it quietly. It's the one thing that connects all human beings. It is the bridge we all have to cross. We all are together. Death shows us the fact that for the universe, no human being is different. He always could read her mind. There was nothing in this world which would live forever except love and death. Love will nourish the coming generations forever, and death will take them to the next level. Love is within. She held his hand as they ambled to his car. It was comforting. She put all her thoughts out of her mind and smiled at him. The excitement of the book launch also took backseat. The moment just after she thought of Nimesh was when she made up her mind. Or her mind made itself up. Did it matter how she suddenly got rid of all the baggage in one moment of serendipity? No, it didn't, she told herself. Stop analyzing, start living. Let few moments leave your space forever. Live those few moments of letting go. Nothing else matters now, she told herself. Everything will fall into place. Her mind was suddenly at peace. It was like walking through a sunny path that suddenly opened into a meadow with flowers swaying in the breeze. That's the end of the book. Wow. That was lovely. That ending is pretty much how it sums up the book, I guess. If you can comment on that, Kavita.
Yeah, I think the ending does sum it up because throughout the readings of the chapters, you must have seen that there are a couple of characters that comes into this girl's journey, and every character leaves a unique imprint in the sense that she has a unique experience, like everybody, so to speak, has with her mother. She faces as a child, she has a slightly traumatic childhood because her mother kills herself, who's a painter. And then she ends up into a marriage which she's not, she's indecisive of, is good, bad, or to stay, what to say or not what to say. Meanwhile, she gets into a stint with violence in her life, and as she's researching papers, she also gets to know that she also, when she's committed to the career, she also gets to know that life is not only herself. There are a lot of things happening to other people in the sense that the chapter reading doesn't touch that part of the book, but we also have wherein she comes upon human trafficking and all that. And finally, the book starts in a childhood, it starts with a suicide and it also ends with one. So
Yeah.
it comes 360 degree, and I think the messages. It's even sometimes I think when I was writing this book also, I think even today, I think having written that book, I still myself not being able to let go of the entire thing, entire life. Like I said, that it's like a book. Your life is a book. You can't delete the chapters. You can probably just kind of edit them. And I think
Correct.
editing means that you just blur the very painful moments and let them go, not the whole chapters. You can't just do away with things that have happened in your life. And we always want more because we forget that, we're worried that we're too worried to enjoy this moment right now where we are. We to sustain the, like there was this book, no, the 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak, and it also talks about the same thing, that you often in the quest of more, you do not kind of stay where you are a little longer. So I think that's it. Uh, through my book, I would want to say that people go through a lot of things. People go good, bad. I think it's important to remember who we are all the time, and remember the best moments, and remember what we've gained out of them. Remember the painful ones as well as whatever they've given out of them, and kind of move on to a joyful
Correct.
life. Maybe.
Yeah. Good,
That's it.
good. That's so good to know. And I will now invite a few people who might want to discuss it again. Whoever wants to sort of join us on the live session and may have some questions to the author, may send us a request to join in, and I'll
Before
probably invite
before
just yeah.
Before I
Sorry,
forget, I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
thank, I'm so sorry, but before I forget, because I'm pretty forgetful, before I forget, I want to thank each of you who has read the book. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for making it a wonderful experience for me. I
It
didn't
was
want
our
to, I
pleasure.
didn't want to end this without saying this, I would have just forgotten about it. I wanted to mention it. Yeah.
Of course, but it was our pleasure more than anything else.
So thank you, Simya. Yeah, please
Thank you.
carry on saying something.
Yeah, yeah. So I will probably invite Jasveer again if he has to comment on anything, and whoever else, even the readers who wanted to sort of discuss, Rahul, I guess, wanted to discuss something. Maybe we can discuss. Yeah, yeah. Jasveer is here. Yeah. Hi, Jasveer.
Hello.
Again.
Hi. No, that was
Yeah.
wonderful. I really loved the session reading by these guys, and they've done a wonderful job in putting emotions to it. That's what an actor does, and they all have done wonderful job.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
hope we all did justice to it.
No,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I mean, given the
Yeah.
time, I know we gave you hardly any time to prepare, and I mean, it's brilliant what you guys have been able to do.
I have to tell you, working with me is the most difficult thing anybody has to face. And I'm so sorry about it. I know Jasveer's been following up with me, and I had my own things, and it all goes to you guys. Without Jasveer, I think I would have never done this.
Yeah.
I would have
That
slept
that
through
tells.
it.
That tells a lot about Jasveer's contribution to the book, as he has already sort of explained about it. But it's amazing to know. I mean, I was genuinely surprised and pleasantly surprised to know that there is a model like that exists, that you provide literary services to authors and authors helping authors. That's a very good ecosystem that is being created, I guess, and that's heartwarming for many aspiring writers too. That yes, I'm not alone in this pursuit of writing something long, writing a book maybe, or authoring a novel. There is a community, an entire community to help them out. So that's very heartwarming to know. Heartwarming to know that. Yeah.
Truly, and this happens to every author. When you're writing
Yeah.
your book, दिमाग में पहले ये आ जाता है कि publishing कैसे करना है? How would I do it? What
Correct.
would I do it? How would I market it? Should I get my books on the bookstore or not? Or should I sell it online? So that affects the writing process. But if they know at the back of the head there is a team that can handle that, and his
Correct.
job or her
Correct.
job is only to concentrate on the manuscript, I mean,
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
a sense of focus that we want authors to have.
Of
You
course,
know,
of course.
if they can get in touch with us at the initial part, we can guide them, and we can sort of assure them you don't need to worry about. You just work on your manuscript, give us the rough draft, we'll get it edited, and then we'll get it published. And
Yeah.
we are also thinking of going traditional way, wherein we won't charge authors anything, but then the discretion is on the editors. If they feel that it's really compelling story, we are going out of the way and offering a traditional solution to the author. So going beyond self-publishing, we are willing to do that. We are willing to offer traditional solution to authors as well. If it's very compelling, it's very niche, we are willing to do that. So that kind of support we are prepared. We are prepared to invest from our side.
Great, 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 great. That's great to know. I mean, for writers who are probably just starting off and starting on their first book, maybe it's a very good system to support them. And I know a few authors who have actually struggled through their initial years in publishing a book or self-publishing them, or in some way finding some market of them. I mean, I have a good friend who's authored 2 books so far, and he's not find that great a success. Maybe 500 copies, 1,000 copies at max printed and published, but never more than that. So yeah, so I mean that kind of support. If he knew about this, or if he now comes to know about this, it will be encouraging for such writers. This kind of an ecosystem that, or the community that is out to help. Okay, so Rahul has sent me a request. I'll accept, and he may want to comment on something about the
Can
book.
we have
So, yeah.
4? Can we have 4?
Yeah,
No?
we can have 4. So yeah, let him join.
Awesome.
We'll see that. Yeah, there he is, I guess.
If you get another request, I can leave. No problem.
Hi.
Yeah. I mean, hi Rahul. Yeah, you
How are you
wanted
guys?
to discuss something. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I firstly wanted to, thank the author and also people for giving me opportunity to read. So far, the part that I read, I can tell you, I really did not, see or hear, with that concentration the other people's part. But then, from what I read, I'm really intrigued to read the book. I am really interested because I can relate to it on a personal level, and I feel there are many more people who can relate to it. And there are so many people in the world who have tried to define love in their own way. I mean, innumerable. If you can, you cannot even count it.
Everyone.
So, I mean, this is a very nice way to, put it. Like, it is love is, and it is just meditation. So many of those things I could relate to it. So that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to, say all the best for the book. And I had 2 questions, if you'd allow me.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So, firstly, I wanted to know what is your inspiration? Like, what made you start this book? Or also, you could share what was the first time when you started writing? What was the inspiration behind
I
it?
started writing when I was in class 8 standard. I started writing poetry, and I don't know what inspired me because too young. I think I just took to writing,
Okay.
and so I have other two books which are poetry books. Which one is Beyond Love, and I have a blog, KavitaKabira.com, wherein I write. But this book specifically, now since that you read the chapter of this book. I think it just happened, I started writing. So another book that really inspired me that I should actually try my hand at writing is Mill on the Floss by George Eliot. I read it when I was in the college, and then I tried writing, and I kept writing 1, 2, I think 3, 4 drafts, and then this book turned out. So it just happened and inspired by life in general.
Which was the book? Could you repeat it?
The Mill on the Floss by George Eliot.
Okay. Mill on the Floss.
Yeah, I was pretty inspired by that book, and in fact शुरू में मैंने अपने protagonist का नाम भी मैगी रखा था. उसका नाम मैगी था. I was so inspired, and then I thought that probably it would not gel with the Indian protagonist. I thought, so then I changed it to. I kept the M, Maya.
Okay. Yeah, Maya is a very relatable name. I mean, it's put up in
Yeah. And Maya means illusion, so it's a name I think which intrigues you a little. I think that's.
I'm telling you, I'm really excited to read the book, and
Please do.
I'll pass it on.
Please do.
I wanted to ask you one more question. That as I read the back cover, I saw that you have 5 more books. I haven't gone much into.
Yeah, 3 are anthologies. Most of them are, all of them are poetry, and one of them is short story. 3 of them are anthologies. I'm part of those books. One is Beyond Love, which is a poetry book, and fiction is this one. And I'm on my way to. I think I should be able to finish it in April. That's what I told Jasveer. I'm on my way to write more after a long time because I kind of slept after writing this one.
No, but this book is
I'll
going to wake up many
keep
people.
reminding you, don't worry.
Yeah. I think I slept. I got too tired writing this. I slept for a couple of years. I think.
I'll remind you, don't worry.
Yeah.
This book is going to
I
wake
think
up
this year.
people, I believe. But
I when I wrote it, it's been a while. Like I said, we reprinted it. So when I wrote it, I really thought it's great, and I personally like my book very much. So, but I think you must read. In fact, you must tell me how you find it.
okay, I mean not oversharing, but then I do have a journal that I keep, so I will also get back to you guys and talk about maybe about writing, because I
Please.
think I should start it.
Oh, you should. And this one on your left, Jasveer is the right man that you got in touch with. Then this one will make sure that you write, publish, and wake up.
I got you.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Let's connect further.
Yeah, thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Rahul.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let's see if anyone else needs to join and is looking to ask questions to Kavita or Jasveer. Maybe someone is an aspiring author here. So.
I would love to talk to an author.
I would love to too, but then I don't.
By the way, I must share this. Mudit is a gifted writer. I mean,
oh no. Far from it.
Mudit is a gifted writer, and there was a actors read session for my book called The Incredible Mr. Sweets, and he did a fantastic job in translating it into Hindi, and I really loved the way he used characters from real life, and it was I could never do it. I have to admit, being an Indian, it might sound very weird that I'm saying that Hindi mein likhna mere liye mushkil hai, but it's just the way in the last 20 years I have used English a lot as a trainer, as a storyteller, and then suddenly when I became an author, I started actually writing in English. That happened naturally. तो मेरे लिए भी उसको हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट करना बड़ा मुश्किल हो गया था, but he did a fantastic job, and he's a gifted writer. Mudit is a very good writer.
You already did the hard work in writing the book. I did just a moment of it, like 2-3 pages of it. I just converted them into Hindi. Had someone asked me to translate the entire book in Hindi, I would have said. Okay,
I'll share a joke about translating. I'll quickly share a joke about translating. तो हमें अपना training manual translate करवाना था, right? For my company, and we are a health and safety company, so we work on telecom towers. So we asked a company to translate it into Hindi. And guess what? When we got the Hindi draft, tower को लिखा हुआ था मीनार. So what they did was, they went to Google Translate और उसको कर दिया, and as per Google Translate, tower is a मीनार.
Yeah.
Right? So, that is the way of translating, but that is not the right way. You don't get the emotion. So, when I talk about that you're a gifted writer और हिंदी में आपने बहुत अच्छा translate किया, I meant that आपने वो emotions को भी translate कर दिया. आपने खाली वो शब्दों को literally नहीं translate किया. So, that was very important for me.
नहीं, मेरा एफर्ट वही रहता है कि एक्चुअली आई वर्क इन मतलब प्रोफेशनली इन द राइटिंग डोमेन फॉर ब्रांड्स, एक्चुअली फॉर कम्युनिकेशन. बट उसमें प्रॉब्लम यही होता है कि हाँ, जब भी हिंदी का कुछ अगर कम्युनिकेशन अगर करना है तो पीपल एक्चुअली सीक हेल्प ऑफ गूगल ट्रांसलेट टू लिटरली ट्रांसलेट इट. एंड माई एफर्ट इज टू यू नीड टू सॉर्ट ऑफ लोकलाइज द एंटायर कम्युनिकेशन. यू नीड टू सॉर्ट ऑफ bring that native sense in a way that if you have written something in English and it needs to be translated into Hindi, it's just not literal translation of word का meaning वैसे ही अगर आपने वो कर दिया,
Exactly.
because languages are not formed by just by text and grammar. They are formed culturally. So there is a lot of
Exactly.
cultural background to whatever you say and how you say it. There are jokes that you can't understand which are in other languages because you won't understand the cultural context behind them. Okay,
Exactly.
they might sound funny to those native people, but they won't sound funny to us when they get translated into our language, because there
True.
is a lot of cultural context is lost. In fact, there's a whole lot of debate actually going on in the OTT space right now because of the kind of translation that is available on platforms like Netflix and all. So there was this huge debate on how bad the translation was for this very popular series called The Squid Game,
Yeah.
because it was done in Korea and there was a lot of Korean cultural influence in that series. When you sort of see the subtitles, that subtext and the cultural context is lost
Not matching.
completely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not matching. So a lot of Korean people actually described it as very bad subtitling. Although we won't come to know about it, but we won't know what is being said because we are just reading the subtitle. We don't know the language itself. But there's this huge debate in the translation space in OTT specifically, where the subtitles for international cinema or international television series is not that great when it comes to subtitling into English or in other languages from the native language, because you're losing a lot of cultural context. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. I think ये जो bot use हो रहे हैं, AI bot use हो रहे हैं to translate, to
uh,
create
yeah,
subtitles, you can't expect an AI bot to be culturally inclined. That's
absolutely not. Absolutely
I
not.
don't know if that's
Absolutely
possible
not.
with today's technology. Maybe in the future we might have that.
Al-
But
Although, yeah, I mean, I'm seeing the use of technology is sort of inevitable. I'll not deny the fact that whenever I translate, even I refer to Google Translate to some extent, but then I make my own judgment of whether it is right or wrong.
true.
Okay.
True.
I mean,
I think
I
that is
may be able
required.
to, that is required. So,
You're
how I
right,
do
because
it,
I also translate sometimes. So I was translating this book. हिंदी में लिखा था कि उसने उसका एक्स इंसान ने उसका चक्कर लगाया, तो ट्रांसलेट होके आया था शी रोटेटेड अराउंड हिम. तो बहुत बार गूगल या कोई भी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस विल पिक अप एज इट इज
Exactly.
the literal
Literal
translation.
translation. Yeah.
So I don't think human involvement can ever be, since it's a form of art, ना, it's a form of expression. तो expression में आप literally translate कर ही नहीं सकते.
True.
That's not
True.
possible because it will be different for different people. जैसे मैं express कर रही हूँ, मैं क्या सोच के लिख रही हूँ, आप वो सोचने के लिए you need a human interference. I
True.
feel.
True. I think that will always be there. That will always be.
correct. Cool. So yeah, this was great. We are almost like touching 2 hours on our interaction now, 1 hour and 45 minutes to say the least, and it didn't feel like that long actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an entire movie can be seen in this time.
Yeah, I can still speak.
We all
No,
can.
this
So
was
yeah,
this
it was
was truly
lovely.
amazing. Mudit,
Yeah,
thank you
thank
so much.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Jasveer. Thank you,
Kavita,
Mudit.
and and thank you, Jasveer, for giving us so many insights into the writing world and the publishing world and the initiative that you guys have taken out there, and that was like the take. That is my takeaway from this session in terms of how authors can sort of seek help from an entire ecosystem or a community that's out there to help them. So
Yeah,
yeah, great,
I'll
great.
wait for your
Sure.
feedback on the book, Mudit.
Oh yeah. Let me read it actually completely, because I just read read
Yeah.
these 5 or 6
Yeah, you
sections
told me.
which we were supposed to read.
Yep.
I'll do that for sure.
Right. Thank you then.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kavita. Thanks,
Thanks a
Jasveer,
lot.
and thanks to all of us, all of those who read from the book, all the actors who read from the book,
Yeah.
and all the people who joined us for this session. Thank you so much. I'll put up a recording of this on the page as well, so that people who may not have joined should be able to watch.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Thank you so much, Mudit.
everyone.
Thank you, Kavita. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
I'll pull off. Thanks.